Well, hello and welcome to Yellow Flag FPL, the podcast where all of our opinions should be yellow flagged. My name is Harry.
I'm Stephen Berry.
And only one half of this podcast is happy this week, both from an FPL perspective and also from an absolute drubbing in North London by the mighty Gunners. I've had an awful week, both FPL and also watching that game on Sunday, which just was great for my hangover after an all-day session going to see St Albans play at home in a cold and wet stadium, Stephen.
Mm-hmm.
But tell us, how was your week? Did you have any much more luck at FPL than I did? And you can talk about the North London derby if you want to.
I think I do one. Points were okay. I got 42 above the average. A small green arrow. Munoz was my savior. I didn't bring in Minte. We've been talking about it all season, and I just didn't. I just decided to roll the transfer, so that ended up being quite painful. But it is what it is. But overall, it was fine. But yes, I mean, my joy was mainly from watching the North London derby. Of all the people, I mean, not just to get one, but to get a hat trick as well. I mean, considering like Liverpool were like really in the dirt, you would think like, oh, okay, Spurs are going to do something to really outbanter them, and they found a way. And I credit where credit is due. You guys really are addicted to the bants. Man U maybe took it off you at the end. I think because it was Moyes, I think maybe Man U win Banter Club of the Week, although it was a very close tie between Liverpool, Spurs, and Man U. Just look. I don't think there's actually much to discuss analytically. Arsenal are good and Spurs are shit. I mean, I guess the only question would be who were better, who's a better quality team, St Albans or Spurs, in your opinion, from the games that you watch? I guess that would be the only question to answer.
I'm going to sidestep that. I don't think Spurs were shit. I just think Arsenal are better. That's just the reality. Like I mean, look, it just shows where both teams are right now, right? Arsenal have been building.
You don't think Spurs
and
were
building.
bad? I thought Spurs were very, very bad.
I thought
think
Spurs
that's
defensively were bad, but I think also, Arsenal pulled us apart in the midfield. As soon as I saw that midfield, I went, we're going to get pulled apart. Arsenal got the best midfield in the league at the moment, right? And they've got some crazy good attackers as well, and the defense is pretty solid. I just saw no way through for Spurs the way they set up. So I think Frank has to take responsibility for that. And then, of course, for some of the goals, the defenders were like headless chickens, like panicking at the back, covering each other, running all over the shop. I thought Danso had a really poor game, his first poor game of the season. But as I said, Arsenal are probably the best team in the league right now. Unfortunately, I think from this weekend, they're probably going to win the league. And I think they just outclass Spurs. I don't think Spurs are bad intentionally. I think Spurs will still finish in the top six. And then you could probably say that was a decent season. And this result aside, we just got to make sure that we think about it and go, a bit like how Leeds, and I'm comparing Spurs to Leeds, I know, bear with me, but a bit like how Leeds considered the Arsenal result their second game when they lost 5-0. That's not the reason why they're going to do well this season. If Leeds stay up, it's not going to be because of that result. If Spurs get top six, it's not going to be because of those sorts of results. It's going to be making sure we beat the other teams. So we've got Fulham at home next week. And I said this in our last pod. We need to now crack on and try and just focus on beating those sorts of teams, finish sixth, and try not to lose too badly against Arsenal. But again, this is where Spurs have been for the last 10 years, right? Let's be real. We've never really been that competitive against Arsenal. Our best results at the Emirates have been 3-2s, maybe. Jonas Kabul scored at the back post, and then a couple of 2-2s as well. But, we're just not competitive. We're not playing in the same league in the terms of quality as Arsenal are. And that's partly due to recruitment. That's partly due to losing our best ever centre forward. And I think it's also partly due to the fact that Arsenal just set themselves up really well defensively and built on those platforms. I mean, what did Steve Bruce say? He said, attackers win games, defenders win titles, right? And that's where you are. And if Steve Bruce is saying it, it's got to be gospel, right? I mean, there's no other answer.
all right, Barry. You've been very nice and very reasonable as a Spurs fan, so which means I can't really twist the knife, which is annoying. But
I'm a reasonable Spurs fan. I know where we are, and I think if we finish top six, that'll be a crazy achievement compared to where we were last season. And when you think about the teams that are coming through this season with like Bournemouth, Crystal Palace, Even Sunderland, you can chuck in there as well, who are currently sort of sitting up top there. I think there is a really good opportunity for teams that are not atypically in that top six to get in there. But that also means Spurs, right? Spurs are
Yeah.
not an atypical top six team, even though they get put into the same bracket. I got really annoyed with is it Sutton on Five Live was going, why are we putting Spurs in the top six? And like the only people that do that are the media. No one else puts them in the top six. No Spurs fan puts them in the top six. That's not how we consider ourselves. I think we were lucky to be invited to the Super League. Let's be real. So like it's not. So for us as a fan base, it was a hurtful weekend, but we're used to it by now. I think it's fair to say.
Fair enough.
But anyway, look, talking about my FPL because this is an FPL podcast, not a
Yeah. So
self-help
just
for
quickly on
Spurs.
FPL. So on FPL, I think look, you need to have triple Arsenal. I still think it's fair to say two Arsenal defenders, maybe even three. I mean, Arsenal have conceded 6 goals so far this season. So that's one in every 2 games. But Richarlison's goal, like, oh my god, like we're not going to concede that every week. The Sunderland goal as well. So and considering Saka didn't get any returns, so just on Eze,
You got
I
Defcons.
think he did get Defcons, so he wasn't complete blank. But um, I would say in terms of the attack, once everyone's fit again, Odegaard will come back into the team for Eze. He won't come back in immediately, but he's the captain. If Eze does do anything incredible, he'll go onto the left wing. Odegaard will come back as the number 10. That's for certain. I think he's going to be back in a couple of weeks. He won't be rushed back in, but either way, he's going to come back into the team. Gokrez will come back in, essentially when he's fit, but I think he's out for a few more weeks. So actually, interestingly, the most interesting one's for maybe Marino, because he's quite cheap and played very well. I don't think Havertz comes in for him when he's back. I mean, Marino's playing very well. Havertz has been off the boil. I think Arteta has also lost faith with him as well. I think Arteta's smart enough to go like, why create a problem? He's somebody I've defended to the hill. The team's doing really well. Let's not do that. So I think from an FPL perspective, I personally would be leaning pretty strongly towards having two Arsenal defenders, not Raya, so Timber, Calafiore probably, and then Marino, I would say. For an FPL sector though, for
Yeah.
Spurs, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, after watching that game, I would be pretty concerned about having Spurs players. I thought they were very, very poor. And you gotta remember it's off the back of a very, very poor performance at home to Chelsea.
Yeah. My question to you about Arsenal players is Gabriel. Now, I held him. I didn't sell him. I'm regretting that decision. Given the fact we get the 5 transfers for AFCON in game week 16, is it worth, if you're still holding him because you were trying to fix other fires in your team, is it worth selling him this week?
Think so. It sounds like he's out for 2 months, and a thing that has Arteta and Arsenal have spoken about it a lot. A thing that has curtailed Arsenal is bringing back players too soon, and then they've got more. Ben White being probably a key example of that. So let's say Gabriel is declared fit to play. Let's be optimistic and say in a month. He's not going to start that game immediately. He really likes Hinakape. I thought he would go with Lewis Skelly, but fair enough. He went for Hinakape instead. Just went for a like for like replacement. If the loan is like it's a big loan agreement, Arteta clearly thinks something about him. He was fine. He didn't do anything wrong, but he didn't have much to do either. So maybe not the best game to judge him on. We've got the Champions League game against Bayern, and that'll be another read. If he starts that game, then you would say that he's going to be the starter for the next few weeks or so. But even if Gabriel is declared fit in a month, I don't think he comes straight back into the team. I think he will be nursed back in. So yeah, I'm going to sell Gabriel. I've got my free hit. I've already lost 100 grand, so it's fine. But I was selling Gabriel next time, and because I need to get some transfers for a bench boost. I'm also going to be free hitting this week as well, so that's going to be interesting. But yeah, Gabriel, I think, unfortunately, sell. By the time you get him back, you'd hope his value would have gone down to 6.3, 6.2. So hopefully, if you, especially like me, if you had him from the start, you're not going to lose too much value there.
Is that Timber's now overtaken him for ownership? So is it a straight swap? Is that kind of the best way to
Yeah,
think about it?
yeah, yeah. I'd go Timber personally. I mean, yeah. Again, I Timber Calafiore,
Even with
and
Chelsea
then
away? Even with Chelsea
even
away
with Chelsea
next?
away, because Arsenal's fixtures really swing after that as well. Brentford, Villa, Wolves, Everton, Brighton, Villa again. Yeah, Arsenal's fixtures look pretty good. Again, Champions League.
Mhm.
Wait to see what happens there.
Yeah,
But
of course.
fundamentally, yeah, I think Gabriel to Timber, Gabriel to Calafiore, it just makes sense.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, I'm a bit annoyed about that because I obviously had Calafiore in a wild card, went to Gabriel, now I have to go away from him again. Oh, it's been a bit of a mess for me. But anyway, we said we wouldn't talk about this game before, but we had to. We had to as the yellow flag FPL El Clasico, or we should come up with a better name for that. But let's talk about other games that probably pleased Arsenal fans. God, I'm gonna hate this podcast. And that's Liverpool Forest. I mean, Christ, what to say? I mean, it's a proper crisis now. I always thought that maybe they had a couple of difficult games, couple of shocking results, but maybe he'll swing it back around. But this is a proper issue now. So just some stats in general from where they are now. They now sit below Everton in the table. First thing, they are 8 points above Burnley, 11 points off Arsenal. So they are closer to 19th than they are to first. Was it a Dicey special, or are Liverpool seriously now in a problem where they might have to actually get rid of the manager?
Yeah, it's a problem. And you said this is good for Arsenal fans. Is it? Fulham won at the weekend. Is that good for Arsenal fans? Like, it's basically that sort of level. I mean, the fact that Sky have had to change the top half to have 11 teams, include them in, and the fact that they're including, they said Man City's running, Arsenal and Liverpool's, when Chelsea are doing really well. Like, come on. Like, come on.
Do you think Chelsea are bigger challengers than Liverpool?
Of course they are. They just objectively are. Like, they are. Liverpool are just, they are a shambles right now. Again, Slot doesn't know his best 11 still. He doesn't know his best 11. He doesn't know the best way to get them to work, and he never has done. Liverpool, considering they're usually quite measured with transfers, I guess looking at it, it looks very careless. Now, don't get me wrong, I didn't predict this. Like everyone was just like, oh, fuck, they've got Isak. Fuck, they've got Verts. Like, what is the point? But what's proven is that if you just buy all these big money players with not really any thought of gelling them in, there's going to be problems. So if you look at the XG, Forest and Liverpool were pretty similar, but just... Yeah. Okay, so they had... Was it Gapco who missed a big chance, I think, at the beginning? And then there was another one. Yeah. They had two...
Yeah. Alex McAllister, he had a shot that was blocked off the line, but if you look at that, there was about 11 players.
But he was going backwards.
So it's really hard to, like, just a Dyche team of like, blocking everything off the line and putting your body before anything else. So I think Liverpool had a few good chances. Salah had a good chance. Kirkes had a good chance. Szoboszlai had nearly another deflected shot go in as well. That was quite close. So Liverpool had plenty of chances in this game, and I obviously, I think from an FPL perspective, you're not having a Salah or anyone like that. I think Gakpo is still interesting because he was creating chances. He did start. I'm surprised that Frimpong. I mean, I know he's injured still, but I'm surprised he's not really in the conversation, as we discussed before. And I think this goes beyond players not bedding in. I think you are right. It is a system problem. He just does not know what his best system is at all. I don't know. I don't really know where they go from here. I really don't.
Look, they did fluff their lines. So for an XG of nearly 2, they got generated an XG on target of 0.67. I mean, you saw that game. So they had 2 big chances that they fluffed. But nevertheless, like the Nottingham Forest goals, you're like, yeah, they probably should score them. Like the XG didn't quite reflect that. But like Murillo's
the third goal,
finish with Murillo. Yeah.
The third goal was absolutely abhorrent defending by Robertson. Omar Hutchinson's got relegated with Ipswich, and he shout out to the Ipswich boys, and he managed to dance past this Champions League, this World Cup qualifying Premier League winner, dance through him like he wasn't there, and put it on a plate for Morgan Gibbs-White. I mean, that was an abhorrent goal. I think the Murillo goal was good. Again, it was kind of like a bit of a chaos in a box, smash at home with a mighty shot. So that was great. But then the other players,
you're right. It's bad defending. It's just bad defending. Like Murillo should not be having the ball at his feet. He didn't really get challenged either. He seemed to have a second longer than he should have done to take the shot. And Liverpool also had 74% possession. So Nottingham Forest created basically the same amount of chances, but with significantly less possession. It's just not working. So Isak again was pretty absent. People are saying that it wasn't his fault. He didn't get much service. Salah was terrible again. I guess honestly, the question is: so I said I'm free hitting. So most people would be going triple Liverpool against West Ham. We're going to talk about Bournemouth West Ham a bit later, but as you know, Barry, I like to go rogue with my free hits. I like to go as rogue as possible. What's rogue?
Callum Wilson.
Triple West Ham
Callum Wilson.
or triple Liverpool? No, but what,
No,
like,
I think it's a Callum Wilson. Get Callum Wilson in.
he went off
Callum
injured.
Wilson would. Well, if he's back, but Paqueta as well. Paqueta should be back now after his suspension. He will get a bit of luck. It's at London Stadium, right?
Yeah,
That
it's
West Ham.
So you're saying that
Yeah.
triple West Ham is still the roguish out of triple Liverpool? I'm not entirely sure.
Of course it is.
Of
course
we're
it
at a
is.
situation now where going for Salah on a free hit. Is that taking a risk? That's sort of where we've become.
Salah does have a great record at that stadium, so I think it would be an interesting shout for sure. And no one will be on it, so therefore you would go fly up the rankings if it did go well. But then do you sacrifice Haaland, who's got Leeds at home, and he's definitely taking the triple captainy?
I'm committed. I've committed to not having Haaland in my free hit. I as you said, Barry, I like to go rogue, and the only way I can do this is to not have Haaland. I'm hoping the boyhood Leeds fan doesn't want to relegate them and just has an absolute stinker, a million shots into row Z. Yes, he's a very good triple captain candidate, don't get me wrong, but I'm hoping he's going to help out his boyhood club and not relegate them in one game. But yes, Leeds, let's be frank, Leeds should get absolutely bulldozed. But nevertheless, I'm gonna go no Haaland if I went free hit.
Okay, well, let's also talk about Forest, because I think they now are worth a conversation for FPL.
Yeah,
you've got to think about that. Two defenders in that team scored goals. Murillo would have walked away with 15 points or maybe 14. This guy Savannah, is that his name? Savona, right? I've never even heard of the guy before, but he's 4.5 million, 0.1% owned. Their next fixtures: Brighton at home, Wolves away, Everton away, Tottenham at home, Fulham away, Man City at home, Everton at home, and Villa away. And that's their Christmas season. Now, that's not bad. I mean, is it worth considering going back? I mean, Morgan Gibbs-White is 7.3, and probably very low owned. Murillo and Mikabenčić, they're only going to be owned by ghost teams. Is it worth going for a Forest player now? And if so, which ones would you look at?
Yes is the short answer. Longer answer is let's wait until the end of the podcast for our top middling and rogue shouts, as I maybe have one of them in there. So I'm just looking at some. They signed him from Juventus. I knew it's from one of the big Italian clubs. I mean, it says a lot about the Premier League versus Serie A. Now, anyone who thinks Serie A can compete with the Premier League and is in a retirement league, almost relegation for Nottingham Forest, getting a Juventus left back, I think says it all. You know who you are if you think otherwise.
Shout out to Fernando.
So, yeah, there he is. Yeah, just in case it wasn't clear. Look, Dice just does what he does. They're gonna defend. They have a decent squad. I think Nottingham Forest defenders. Yeah, short answer is yes. They do become interesting again. Especially if they've got a good run, which I think you mentioned they do have now. Yeah, their run is pretty good.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, we've mentioned West Ham, so we could do a nice sort of shifting across now to them. It was a weird result. I mean, Semenyo not starting is probably the big headline of that game. But yeah, what else did you notice about the game? Callum Wilson with 2. You know, what stood out for you?
Yeah, I mean, Callum Wilson's second goal as well. Wow. He is honestly really injuries,
good goal.
Man.
Really good goal.
He's such a good striker. He just it's so unfortunate. He's not even made of glass. He's made out of paper glass. He's great. And when he gets injured for ages. Like he's out for months at a time. But let's be frank here. Bournemouth had an XG of 4. Areola made 10 saves in that game. 10 saves. I can't even remember the last time. Bournemouth had 76% possession.
Some of them were absolute worldies, by the way.
Yeah,
some of them were worldies. Like I mean, like Krupi could have hauled in this game. Like he was crazy.
Yeah. And then obviously they should have gone down to 10 men. Was it Kilman who just basically just wafted the ball from Evan Nielsen? I mean, they got a penalty, but that is he's clearly just gone boom with his arm there intentionally. So they should have gone down to 10 men. So in other words, what am I saying here? West Ham are back. West Ham are I still have lots and lots of concerns about West Ham. Lots and lots of concerns. And from a Bournemouth perspective, obviously, like Semenyo was injured, But they did this without him. Imagine what they're going to do with him. Semenyo is still a very, very, very solid pick in FPL, depending on how long his injury is. They've got their run isn't brilliant. The next 3 games is Sunderland away, Everton at home, Chelsea at home. So Chelsea, you probably say the leakiest team out of them. Then they have Man U, Burnley, Brentford, Chelsea. Like I considering that most people are doing Semenyo to Mbeumo, who I think a lot of people are regretting that now, especially considering how toilet Man you were on Monday. I still think hold Semenyo. Bournemouth are just so attacking. It's unbelievable. Don't have their defenders. I know Senesi got very lucky with his assist, by the way.
Yeah, very lucky. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think he even got defcons in that game actually. So I don't want any Bournemouth defenders, but yeah, Semenyo, Tavernier actually he started again. He took the pen. I don't know if he's their normal penalty taker. I remember a Bournemouth penalty this season actually. So
I think so. Yeah, it was either him or Kluivert. If Kluivert's on the pitch, I think Kluivert takes it. But
right, fine. So yeah, Tavernier's like another option. I still like Brooks as well. I can feel, as I said, I keep feeling his haul coming. Croupier started on the wing, so he does play alongside Evan Nilsson as well. So that's interesting. It means he's cheap. Yeah. If you need funds, he's a good enabler. So I wouldn't be looking at West Ham players. Basically, let's put it that way. I think, and I
unless your name is Stephen Berry, of course.
Yes, of course. I mean, maybe I've got a shout later, but I still don't like West Ham assets at all, to be honest with you. Bowen got defcons, first forwards to get defcons this season. But again, he's so expensive. He's so expensive though, and I think West Ham's run coming up is terrible actually. Liverpool, Man U, Brighton, Villa, City. Yeah, it's not great. No, I'm still I'm not very pro West Ham. I think that's that's the key takeaway. This is a fluke result for them, and they're not going to get that lucky every week.
Fine. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Well, I mean, Callum Wilson played really well, I thought, and the first goal, Petrovic should have saved that. It was a snapshot, and it was just out of nothing really. The penalty was, as you said, it should have been a red card. But I think not having Semenyo on the pitch really hurt Bournemouth. They have Sunderland away next, which is a bit of a banana squint for most teams. So they need him back. Otherwise, I would back Sunderland to win that game. I still own Trufflet. He has been on my watch list to get rid of, but I just not had the transfers to do it. Yeah. So I'm in a bit of a pickle when it comes to Bournemouth because I really needed Semenyo to play, and when he didn't, I was in a bit of trouble. Also, Reece James coming off at half time against Burnley was just fucking annoying. After he started, and it was like, and he doesn't have an injury. There's no injury to him. He's just been rested after a change of system or something. And Caicedo didn't play as well. Didn't play. So I'm in a bit of trouble, and I think that Bournemouth players have not been my biggest fire, I'd say. But if Callum Wilson starts, ticking along nicely, is he worth a shout? I mean, Waltermaid was a bit disappointing in the Newcastle game, which we can talk about. Mateta's obviously, he's pretty much set and forget, right? So is Haaland. But could you be tempted by Callum Wilson?
Now, but I'm just looking at him now to see if he is injured. So Krulkrug is back as well. I think he went off injured, didn't he? I'm just trying to see here. I think, considering that he's injured, once again, Nuno is not being very helpful here. But anyway, so yeah, if you look, no, I mean, I'd rather have a Croupier, to be honest with you. No, Barry, no. He's not going to do that every week. He's a very good striker, but let's be frank, West Ham are pretty poor. And again, Croupier is cheap. Thiago's cheaper than Callum Wilson. Thiago's quite cheap. Danny Welbeck, even Richarlison, Isidore. I mean, you're going to have to say no to a lot of strikers before you get to Callum Wilson, and I just don't see why you would. I don't see why you would before you get to that point.
No, fair enough. Semenyo owners, I mean, I guess it's a wait and see, but if he's not going to play again this week, if we get he's probably not going to play, is he a sell?
I think his injury isn't that bad, and I think a lot of people have sold him already. So in a way, he's sort of become a differential again. So because I think a lot of people
57% owned.
Yeah, but you got to remember, a lot of people bought him after the Liverpool game, who now are dead teams. I think a lot of people are actively
Sure,
playing him have
fine,
sold
yeah,
him now. So I think, yeah, in terms of active teams,
yeah.
he could become he's ish differential ish. I don't have the
Yeah.
data to say like how many active teams still own him, but I'm personally gonna hold him for now because who have they got? Who have they got? Not this game week, but next game week. Who they've got? They've got Chelsea at home. You know, he's looking for a move potentially. You can see him doing something in that game, can't you?
Mm.
Chelsea
No,
aren't the
they've got
best defensively.
Semenyo's got Sunderland away.
No, because I'm free hitting, so not this one. I'm going to avoid it for Sunday. I'm talking
Oh,
about the one afterwards. Yeah,
oh, the one after. Okay, yeah, yeah, sure, sure. Okay, cool. Yeah, yeah. I mean, Bournemouth fixtures aren't too bad. I mean, Sunderland away, Everton at home, Chelsea at home, Man United away, Burnley at home. I mean, again, I'm looking at it from a Christmas fixture perspective. Like when it gets pretty tight, um, like when I get to that 5 transfers in game week 16, I want to have as fewer fires as possible. I want to have as many players
yeah,
that are set and forget and through the December period. And also when you think about, play teams to target, which we talked about on the last pod, Everton, which I'll talk about a bit later. I think they're definitely ones to look at. So I think I'm probably going to be doing a bit of wargaming this week. And again, waiting for the Champions League to be done with, but doing a bit of wargaming, understanding which players I think can be set and forget for that period, short of any crazy injuries, and then hopefully that means I can tick through. Because right now I'm in a situation where I've got about 3 or 4 fires in my team, and that I need to gradually solve. Um, and I don't want to be in that position in the middle of Christmas.
but what clubs are you thinking about? Are you thinking like sort of like clubs with small squad out of cups like Everton, Bournemouth, even who aren't in Europe? Because you got to think people like Newcastle, Forest, Brighton probably aren't going to rotate that much either. You would have thought maybe. What sort of clubs are you thinking
Yeah,
about?
yeah, yeah. I mean, look, you look at players like Welbeck, Pickford, solid players that are okay injury wise and will play every week. I mean, I think to be honest, when AFCON comes around, it is target Everton time. So I would say that that's definitely a team I would avoid. But I'm looking at players that are kind of like institutionalized within their teams. They just are on the team sheet every week, and you don't really
Yep.
notice anyone else being there. Um, so and also players that aren't in Europe. I'm not sure if they have any European fixtures during AFCON or in the early parts of of that week, but of
I think
the
so.
December
I
time
think if
period.
you're,
But
I think if you're the team that doesn't qualify in the top eight, there's a double fixture. I think.
yeah, so that would definitely play into my thinking. So yeah, teams that are not in that, I think will definitely become interesting for me. Um, so yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm not sure I agree with the triple Arsenal. I would potentially look at the double. Well, I am on the double at the moment, and so yeah, so I think that probably will sit there. So yeah, I think that's kind of the lens and by which I'm looking at these things and thinking, like, what are my biggest problems at the moment? Having Gabriel, he's 6.4 million. He might dip by 1 or 2 bips, but I don't think it's going to be crazy. So I probably thinking about it. I think probably I'm going to move on Trufflet for this Savannah from Forest, just because I like him as a differential. He's
Yeah.
4.5 million. He's obviously he scored, which is great. And Dyche loves his defenders, so I think that will definitely help. So yeah, cool. But anyway,
Well,
should
as
we
you've
move
done
on?
what you like, yeah. Well, as I say, as you've done what you love doing, which is mention Arsenal, even though we weren't talking about Arsenal as is your one, but fair enough. Best team in the land, that makes sense. Can we talk about a result that was good for them, which is Newcastle, Man City? I think my
Yeah,
favorite meme that went around. I mean, Newcastle fans must have absolutely loved this. My favorite meme, which is like Haaland when he plays anyone, it's just a photo of Erling Haaland. It's like Haaland when he goes to St James's Park. It's a photo of Isak in a Liverpool shirt. I think so. Newcastle fans must have really enjoyed that for a variety of reasons.
yeah. I think Man City were unlucky. Is got my
They
honest
were. I think
opinion
that's
of
fair.
it.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, Shaw absolutely bulldozes Foden
Stonewall
in the first
penalty.
sort of 10, 15
Was
minutes.
it?
It's an absolute stonewall penalty. Like,
I
clearly the ref doesn't have Haaland in his fantasy team. That's my only explanation for that, because it was an absolute stonewall. I don't understand why he's not given that.
because I
And it
watched
was
it
checked and
again and I was
cleared as
just
well.
like, Yeah, I watched it a few times. Like, am I missing something? Like, what? What am I missing? No, it's an absolute stonewall penalty. He gets wiped out.
But what I would liken it to is that, do you remember that Pickford challenge on Van Dijk during the COVID season, where the
Where he
ball's
broke his
gone
leg.
and yeah, basically clattered into him. It's the same challenge. It's exactly the same
Yeah.
challenge. He's gone on the top of his foot. The ball's gone, but only a second later. It was a nasty challenge, and that should have been a pen. And then Haaland scores that, most likely, right? And then you're looking at 9 points probably, and most people aren't laughing too much about it. Haaland also had a couple of other good chances in the game. I actually thought Shirky had his best game, and Foden as well. I think both of them linked up really nicely. And I think that they will definitely be ones to watch when Mamouche goes off to AFCON. I think they're looking back to what they were. Well, Foden definitely. Shirky, obviously, he was crazy in the French league, but he looks like he's settling in nicely and is cheap. Haaland himself had an XG of 0.98 without a penalty. So if he had a penalty and potentially was get a bit more balance of the ball or whatever, I think he would definitely score. So yeah, great result for Arsenal. Clearly the ref's an Arsenal fan that doesn't have Haaland in his team. That's the only explanation I think I would put down to it. But look, Newcastle. We know this about Newcastle, right? They go to Brentford and lose. They go to West
That's what
Ham
we
and
said. They're
lose,
great at home.
and then and maybe we should put the Fulham theory as your. I think we should definitely copyright it. Copyright the Fulham
Yeah.
theory, a la Berry. When they're playing a big team at home, they turn up, and the Geordies are a loud bunch, and fair play to them. But yeah, I think it's worth saying as well. Harvey Barnes. Look, he's 6.3 million. He's 0.6%
Mm.
owned. If he started every week, Stephen, would you be tempted?
No. Well, again, so like just with Newcastle players. Again, so it's not quite the Fulham theory. The Fulham theory is that none of the team people want to play there. They want to get moves away. The Newcastle theory is that they what do they have to play for in the Premier League? Like nothing. Like
Mm.
it's going to be really hard for them to get Champions League, although not impossible. They're already in the Champions League. A lot of them. I mean, if I get it. If I was one of them, I'd be like, well, do you know what? We're in the Champions League. Let's actually focus on that. They're seventh in the Champions League league. So I can't remember.
Yeah.
I know they're doing quite well. Um, like let's actually focus on that. You know, this is our chance. Why would they play well away against a team like a Brentford or a Brighton or a West Ham? There's nothing for them to play for. At home, they have to. You were a bit harsh on Voltemade. I thought he played quite well.
He had two really good chances, but I mean, again, he's blasted both of them at the keeper. You know, either side of the keeper in either one
Yeah,
of those chances is two goals, right? And so I'm not going to sell Voltemade on the basis he's getting those chances. But
yeah,
again, he needs to do better, I think, is what I'm saying.
yeah. I think that's fair. But I think the problem is with Newcastle is you're essentially holding on to players that aren't going to play half the games. They've got Everton away next. They're losing that 1-2-0. They just are. They
Yeah,
then have Tottenham at home. So that's interesting. I think they'll play well on that.
they'll
And then
win
they have
that. They'll
Burnley
win
at
that.
home. Yeah, so they got Burnley at home for game week 15, so before the transfers. I probably do want Voltemade then. I think he's a very good captaincy option then. But no, Harvey Barnes, again, he's not starting every week. I don't know why he started this game in particular. Maybe it's tactical because of his
Champions
pace.
League.
Or yeah, maybe that as well. Because is Gordon injured?
Gordon's
Is Gordon
injured.
injured?
Did Jacob Murphy start? I don't
Well,
think
so it's
Jacob
Gordon's
Murphy
injured, that's
started.
why. He did. Murphy started.
Okay.
Murphy started. It's vintage Jacob Murphy. He plays every minute, but you don't notice it. So Elanga's obviously been being poor for them. So actually, probably Harvey Barnes does have a decent start of getting a few more games. But he's not going to do that every week. Quite frankly, he's too
Yeah.
he's too
Yeah,
inconsistent. I think he's gone his haul, and I think that's it. He's not going to get another one.
I also think with a squad that's that thin for with Champions League involved,
Yeah,
I mean they've got Champions League fixtures this week, then they've got Champions League the second week of December, and then the third week of January. I think it's just too many fixtures really for me to consider a Newcastle player. But I think it's interesting because 6.3 million is an interesting price point, particularly if you're owning a Kudus. And I'm looking for a player in that price bracket. And I have a player in mind. I might have mentioned him. That potentially I would move on to him. But I think Harvey Barnes is definitely worth consideration. He'll be a crazy differential. And if he does play every week, particularly at home, he's interesting, right? But yeah, I think the other thing to mention, like I said, Foden played really well, and I think if I mean maybe when Mbemo goes away, when he goes away for with Cameroon, could we consider spending 8.5 million on Phil Foden?
He's going to get a big haul at some point. Let's be frank. Now, to
No,
be
you can
fair,
feel it, can't you?
he's got Leeds at home next. He's got Fulham away. It could be in one of
Yeah.
those two games. West Ham at home.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's. I mean, in a free hit, the logical thing to do. I might hedge Haaland a bit by having Foden in my teams and not go completely rogue. But
They have a great
he's in
relationship.
my free hit. Yeah, he's in my free hit team right now because, as I said, I can't see anything other than a pretty big. Yeah, maybe not. Yeah, no, I think the problem is with Foden is that, I mean, and I know people will say, "Oh, he's such an Arsenal fan," Saka all the way. He is a flat track bully. Let's be frank. He's not somebody you want for the big games. But Man City are going to play a lot of average teams. So they have Leeds next. They have Fulham. Like, not having Foden for those two games is concerning. Like, you can see him doing something in both those games. And again, he's an
Yeah,
FPL player. He doesn't tend to get a goal. He tends to get two, or a goal and an assist, and
I
lots of
know, I
bonus.
know.
When
He's going to
he
get 20 points,
when he
isn't he?
when he performs, he really performs, and that's a player that's very risky not having in your team. So no,
Yeah,
Foden
and of
should
course, and the thing is,
definitely be on your radar.
I think also like he's going to be the player that you buy after he gets that haul and he doesn't get it for another 3 to 10 game weeks. You have no
Yeah,
idea what's going on.
yeah,
But I think it's worth putting him in a watch list. And I think if I was on free hit this week, I definitely would get him in. I think he's he's going to have loads of space in that Leeds midfield. Leeds are not going to, they're going to do what they did against Arsenal. They're going to give it a good go. They're going to go for it, going to see what happens, maybe try something a bit new and interesting because they want to obviously use that for other game weeks. But realistically, that's not going to be a game that they're going to target or anything like that. Yeah, it could be 5-0. I really think that's going to be like an absolute dropping. Cool. Okay.
Well,
What other
let's
games do you
talk
want to
about
talk?
Leeds actually,
Let's talk about Leeds.
because
Yeah, I was
let's
going to
talk
say
about
Leeds is a good transition there. Right.
So I mean, so they lost. They had higher XG than Villa. Villa's expected shots on target was 0.46. So in other words, they're saying that Rodgers' goal was a wonder free kick. Is it? I guess it just doesn't look very good, but I guess it actually is very hard to get the ball up and down at that sort of speed. It just doesn't look aesthetically pleasing.
That the quality of free kick there is really something that I think most
Yeah,
professionals will tell you is really really hard to get right.
they were all
That's
saying
Gareth
that.
Bale technique. It's Gareth Bale technique where you almost I don't know how he does it, but he kind of like scoops it, but puts enough spin on it so then it spins over the
Yeah,
top of the goal rather than above. Because if you scoop a ball, it will usually go upwards, right? But you have to scoop
yeah,
it with still enough backswing for it to go round like that. It was
yeah,
incredible technique, incredible. And I'm not
yeah.
saying it just to blow smoke up his arse. That was a Gareth Bale level free kick,
No, look,
unbelievable.
all the professionals were saying that. Danny Murphy was saying on Match of the Day, he was like, he tried doing it with Beckham. Beckham just had a certain like bone structure. He was saying it just doesn't look as good as Declan Rice's against Real Madrid, does it? Let's be frank, aesthetically,
Oh my
and especially the
god.
keeper just stands there. I'm just saying aesthetically, it doesn't look as good as those free kicks. So that's why. But no, I agree with you. I'm obviously not a professional footballer and nowhere near that. So if all the professionals are saying this is really hard, this is a very good technique, this is something that only a few players can do, credit where credit's due. I think we know Morgan Rogers is a great player, as he's shown for England and Villa for a while now. Maybe not for a while, but either way, recently. Leeds, but then again, Leeds played well. Villa was shaky at the back.
Leeds played
Martinez
really well.
again, best
Yeah.
goalkeeper in the world. Fuck me, that was terrible for the first Leeds goal. Awful for the first Leeds goal. He then made, I think he made one save later on, but like no. Come on. Anyway, Leeds will be very disappointed with that.
Yeah,
DCL
I think
hits his
so.
arm, could have hit his hip instead. Should have made more of their chances. The problem is with Fark, the fans have turned on him, and I get it if you're a Leeds fan, because Forest and West
Really?
Ham are picking up. Yeah, because they just don't want to get relegated, and that's fair enough. They've been given hope by how bad Forest and West Ham were. They're now looking at it going, well, Forest won't go down now. They're probably going to be safe. Burnley will get the other one, and then who's left? So they were going to sack him before a ball was
Yeah.
kicked anyway. In other words, what am I saying? It's just lined up for Fark's last game, isn't it? A big 5-0
Mm.
defeat. I think it's a bit harsh. I think they are playing well at home. Let's have a
Yeah.
look at their
I think
fixtures.
they've got the
Who have
right
they got coming
tactics though,
up?
because I think they are targeting games they can win, and they really went for that Villa game, and they played really well.
Yeah, and they're
They
unlucky.
got a decent number of chances. If they had a good centre forward, I think they win that game. And I think that it comes down to the fact that um, a bit of luck kind of goes their way. I mean, the Martinez. I mean, you shrugged it off, but the Martinez save from strike was ridiculous.
That was good. That was good. That was
ridiculous.
fun. That was fun. It was okay.
I mean I thought that game had 2-2 written all over it. I really thought it was a banana skin for Villa. I mean, their next couple, like we've talked about, they've got Man City next, which they probably will lose. Then they got Chelsea, Liverpool, and Brentford away.
They've got
That is
Chelsea
a
and Liverpool
horrible
at home.
Yeah,
Yeah, they've got Chelsea and Liverpool at home though, and I think I still maintain that at home I wouldn't. I'll put it this way: if let's say you had Enzo or João Pedro, I wouldn't be worried about them going to Ellen Road, but I wouldn't be captaining them. I still they probably are gonna lose both those games. I mean, is Liverpool a 6-pointer? Who knows? But I just wouldn't be captaining anyone at Ellen Road. But Brentford away, if you have Thiago, they're very tempting, and I think. I think for Leeds, you know what you're going to get them now because they're going to have the same manager. They're going to have a new manager soon. Who knows who that will be and how that will play out. So I think for now, Leeds are going to be very, very bad away from home and and okay at home. As I said, Haaland, this game week, it's such an obvious triple captain shout, isn't it? Villa.
yep.
Villa are fourth. Don't know how this has happened.
Yeah, I know. I saw that the weekend. I was like, what has happened?
I honestly, even Villa fans are like, what was happening? So how has this happened? So they beat obviously Bournemouth 4-0, and then they beat Man
Yeah.
City. Like I've forgotten about that. I'm still not that keen on Villa assets. Morgan Rogers is quite expensive. Watkins has just disappeared completely. He's tempting for a free hit because of how rogue he is, given they've got Wolves next. I still like Matty Cash, but I mean, the one player I actually do really want to talk about, and I think now is the time. He's going to come back, Barry, and he's going to start. Emre is going to see the light, and that is Marlon. Marlon, I think, is very interesting because of how cheap he is, and surely he's going to start playing him now. Come on.
He came on at halftime. He sat in the middle. He pulled the strings. He got a great assist. He's a great player. I don't know what
he had
assist. Crazy
skinned him round, great ball in. Yeah.
He's got Emery's got to do it. And they haven't got crazy amount of fixtures. They're not in loads of competitions. Like he has to play him. It was a bit mad seeing Villa so high up. But I mean, again, same analysis as last week. Are any of their players interesting? If Marlon starts, then yes. But anyone else, really?
I do like Matty Cash, although Villa, I do like Matty Cash because he gets a goal or two. Marlon does become very. I think I probably will be getting Marlon in. To be fair, the only thing with them is that their run after Christmas is terrible. They go to Stamford Bridge, then the Emirates, then they got Dyche at home, Palace away. Like over Christmas, their period is pretty poor. But until then, their run isn't bad. They've got Wolves at home next, Brighton away who concede. Arsenal at home. They've actually got a decent record of us at Villa Park. And West Ham away, Man U at home. That's not bad. So other than Arsenal at home, you'd say. But yeah, no, I think Marlon is surely. And the thing is, if you don't surely, if you want to be a bit more, because when he starts, he'll fucking do something. This is the problem. If you're like, oh, I'll wait for him to start. He'll haul in that game.
Well, Burnley.
So you
Burnley
at
home.
Early.
He started and got 14 points. It's just going to happen. It's crazy that he won't start. Crazy.
Leeds, but so I wouldn't be rushing too much on Villa players. Other than that,
No, I agree. Yeah. I mean, the Leeds fixtures are interesting because they got Chelsea at home, which is a Classico from the 70s or 80s. So that'll be quite a violent game, and it's on a Wednesday night under the lights. So that'll be quite interesting. And then they've got Liverpool at home, and we've talked about their woes. So actually, that could be a game they could target. But I would be very disappointed if they got rid of Farke before those games because any manager coming in for those games is going to have a difficult run of it. But with a new manager bounce, could they do something? Look, I think it'd be very harsh to sack him after getting absolutely drubbed away at Man City. That would be really, really harsh.
But it's what happens there. It's the 5-0. They stand looking out into the sky, like looking philosophical. They have a press conference. They go, "I'm not a quitter. I've never walked away from anything in my life," and then get the payout, and that's that.
Fair enough. Well, let's move on to a surprise result. But another team from that's just been promoted, Sunderland, Fulham. I mean, you said you'd start all 3 Sunderland players in your team. I assume you did. What did you make of the game?
Yeah. Until that goal, Rofe was on for 10 points. Hume was on for something. Then he got a yellow card as well, I think, at the end as well, just to rub salt in the wounds. I'm just going to do this really quickly. Sunderland had a bad day in the office. They're a good team. They're Premier League-y, but they're fundamentally a mid-table team. And mid-table teams do have shockers. They will go to a Craven Cottage or a London Stadium and just not turn up. That's what happened there. They got absolutely battered by Fulham. But I'm still not very positive on Fulham. They had 4 big chances. Rose obviously saved 3 of them. They had all this possession. Sunderland weren't really doing anything, and they only won 1-0. They just sneaked a result by playing really well. That's actually quite concerning for them. And again, Sunderland were just really, really, really bad. Like, Reggie Labrise was just like, yeah, this was just terrible. But again, Sunderland will do that, and I don't think you need to panic about that. They're a mid-table Premier League club, all mid-table. Brighton do this every season. They'll just have a result where they're just like, well, they were just terrible. That's just what they do. It doesn't make Brighton a bad team. I wouldn't be panicking about Sunderland assets, and I also wouldn't be going in for Fulham players.
Interesting about Fulham, just quickly, because if they didn't have that win, they'd be at 11 points. And Leeds are also on 11 points. So really, it's a win they desperately needed. So maybe it's now because Fulham are in a relegation battle. We can probably argue they are at least in the conversation. Their players might actually turn up a little bit more to those games. Games that they should win. And I think probably the manager's kind of instilled that a little bit. So yeah. But I think Fulham will beat us at the weekend. They will. They just turn up against Spurs every time, and it's so annoying.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well,
okay.
Mate, you're one of the other clubs they can get their moves to in London. They don't want to move away from their nice little house over there. So Spurs is a good option.
Ryan Sessegnon's going to get the winner. Ryan Sessegnon is going to get the winner. That's my prediction. Okay. Cool. Yeah, there was one last game I wanted to talk about, which is the Everton Man United game, just because it was the red card was hilarious. And I think also it was quite a good documentary into what Everton will be like without Gay in the team when he goes off with Senegal. So I think it shows... I don't really know whether it means that Man United will actually be any different when AFCON comes to call, because Mbemo, Bruno, all the players had pretty good chances, pretty good chance creation, to be honest, but couldn't hit a barn door. Now, will that change when the AFCON players go? Don't think so. Yeah, I mean, the United attackers clearly need to go back to the drawing board in terms of their shot conversion. What did you make of the game? Is it Operation Target Everton still when AFCON comes around, or is it the case they were really good and United really bad? What's your thought process?
I think it's that. Man, 25 shots, 6 on target.
Crazy, man, isn't it?
I mean, so their XG is 1.71. You think, oh, that's amazing, but that's from 25 shots. That's really, really bad. That is just hitting and hoping, basically. If you do that, eventually your XG will just build up over time. It's basically like cricket keeping the scoreboard ticking, but just not in a good way. Again, Man U must have think, Spurs, everyone laughing at them, Liverpool, how can we wrestle the banter crown? And as I said, because it's Moyes, they found a way. 10 men, they were down to Everton down 10 minutes and they concede. Dewsbury Hall, great goal. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, great goal.
But you just knew Everton were going to see that out. You just did. You just did. Sure. I actually think, it just reminds you that you should have Everton defenders. Moyes is Dyche's father. He sets up teams. They're very hard to break down. Keane's gotten 2 back-to-back big hauls now as well. In my free hit draft, I currently have triple Everton defence at home to Newcastle. Newcastle not going to do anything in that game. Watch Voltemade get a hat-trick now. But anyway, yeah. Everton under Moyes, or any Moyes team, not the best to look at, but hard to beat, hard to score against. Pickford's a great goalkeeper. There's a lot to like from an FPL perspective about the Everton defenders. I would say I looked at their run-in, and I think run's probably the wrong term. I looked at their run-in. I don't think it was that bad either for Everton.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've got Bournemouth away, which is not great, but then they got Forest at home, Chelsea away, Burnley, got Arsenal as well. It's okay. It's pretty mixed. You think at least get some defcons for the Everton defenders,
Mm.
but I think I will be getting an Everton defender in my team. Probably Keane. But maybe Tarkowski instead. He hasn't quite hit the DEFCON heights people thought he would, but I think that's going to come for him. So, yeah, I like Everton
Yeah.
defenders. And again, Manu, why do people have Bruno Fernandes? Why? Stop
He was
owning
he
him.
was the one. He was the one that most likely to score. I felt from the shots that he put in there. I thought that.
Only because he was
I mean,
running
Pickford got.
around, but he's dropping deep. He was dropping deeper. Like, no, stop!
Yeah.
Please stop! Please
But I
stop
think.
owning him.
But before you break into song, like we're in a bloody musical, I think it's worth mentioning as well and asking the question. You know, Gaywood didn't came out of the team obviously with the red card. They seem to cope with United. Now, does that mean that our earlier prediction of Everton are going to struggle when the AFCON comes around is actually not the best, or is it just the fact that United are terrible?
United were terrible. I mean, look, like 25 shots, right? Okay, again, a lot of them were speculative. But they still had some big chances. Other teams, better quality teams, are going to do much more to Everton than that, I would say. Target Everton? No, I still don't think target Everton. I still don't think target Everton, to be honest with you. I think it's actually a very good point that you made. It's like, okay, they've now basically AFCON started early for Gay because it's a 3-game ban, right, for violent conduct. So he'll be out and then he'll go to AFCON.
Yeah,
So
yeah, probably, yeah.
yeah, it's a fair point though. Like, let's see one more game because I do agree Gay is a very good player for them. So I don't know, I can't remember who they've got next, Everton, even though I just said it. They've got Newcastle. Oh, they've got Newcastle at home next. So let's see how they do in that game. But again, Newcastle's so bad away from home. But I think it's a fair point you raise. If let's say they do lose that game at home to Newcastle, who are terrible on the road, then I'd be very worried. If they then get spanked by Bournemouth, then I would start getting worried. So I think you're right. This could be a good, it's a good litmus test. But at the same time, I just don't. I think Moyes has got more to him than that. I think he'll set the team up in a way that's going to be very hard for them to concede.
Cool, cool. Okay, well, let's close off the pod with our bankers, middling and brogue. Stephen, you've been baiting us all throughout this podcast with your shouts, and the fact you just dropped you're going to might have triple Everton defense is wild. So yes, tell us, who have you gone for in your bankers, middling and rogue?
Yeah, so I've got a free hit draft which I'll share, but that's very much draft one. I'll be working on others. So my banker, this is not to do with a free hit. This is generally, and that is O'Reilly. Still cheap. He's got his place. They're not going to go to St James's Park every week. I think Man City have got a very good run, and he's going to get some good returns coming forward. I know I mentioned him last week, but I really would like. I'm going to bring him in after my free hit. My middling is, you've already mentioned him, Savona. Nottingham Forest has mentioned have a good run. This defender's obviously very good. I think he played under Ange, but he's Dyche's man, and he looks pretty good. And Barry, my rogue, is rogue, and it's so rogue that unless I get information he's going to be in my team. I'm pretty confident, and that is a FPL favorite from the 2017 season, I think. So I think it was a while ago. And that is the potato salad, and that is Thomas Souček. So the reason being is that he came on for Callum Wilson. He came on for Callum Wilson up top. Füllkrug appears to be coming. I need to look at more into this. Füllkrug seems to be coming back from injury, so he might not start. But there's a chance that Souček starts up top at home for Liverpool, and what a hit that would be. Souček lumping up balls. Liverpool's shambolic defense are all over the place. Can't handle the 10-foot man mountain. Yeah, he's my rogue shout for the week.
That's just wild. I mean, he did have that season. Was it COVID season where he was scoring quite a lot? How much is he now? 5.5?
He was more than I thought. I think he was 5.5 actually. 5.7. Yeah. 5.7, and he must have started at 6. I'm assuming. He's 0.3% owned. He got 12. He got 12 points against Burnley. He got 6 points against Newcastle. Then -2. Okay, it's been pretty bad,
Yeah,
but
it's been pretty bad
he's
because West Ham are pretty bad.
yeah,
but
yeah. He's a
unfortunately, I
lot,
think Nuno's
lots of
got them playing pretty
zeros.
well.
He's not starting every week. He got 12 points against Burnley, only playing 28 minutes. I mean, what a man. So yeah,
What a man.
I'm going to try to work out who's starting up top for West Ham, and if it's Souček, he's going to start. But I need to check on the injury news of Fulkrug, or maybe it might be Fulkrug actually.
Yeah.
But Souček is calling out to me.
This is live decision making in Stephen's brain. So anyway, we'll move on. So my banker, I mentioned him already. It's actually I've got three midfielders, all midfielders. You can tell where I think my problems are in my team. Morgan Gibbs White is my banker, and I just think that he is. And I said this a couple of game weeks ago. He seems to be settling in really nice into the Dyche midfield ethos. And I think what's interesting is they've kind of gone full circle. You know, they came into the season with Nuno, really defensive, hard to beat, had some good results, and then a couple not so great, and then he fell out with the owner. Then they get Ange in. We know what happened there. And now they've reverted to type and now look structurally pretty decent. In that structure, Morgan Gibbs White seems to be thriving. He's 7.3 million. He's only like 3 or 4% owned, so he's pretty differential in that respect. But I think he's a decent player, and he's going to be making a push for the England team as well. So, and you know, Tuchel's made it very clear to him he's got plenty of chances to do that. So I think that he's definitely worth a shout. My middling, who I compared to Gareth Bale earlier, is Morgan Rogers. Look, he is expensive for Aston Villa, but you just kind of get this sense that he's about to go on a run. And he started to pick up points. He started to get results. He seems to be the sort of player that will play 90 minutes for Villa in every game. I mean, we see Watkins has come off. Milan's stopped coming as well. So, like, it's kind of 50-50 who else is playing that attacking line. And Morgan Rogers is a great player. So I think he's middling because, you know, Villa we're not sure about yet really, but they are fourth from the table and the table doesn't lie. So it's definitely worth a shout. And then my rogue shout is Shirky, Man City.
Rogue.
Now he's rogue. He is rogue because you know how Pep works. He could be starting. He started against Newcastle. He seems to be holding on the shirt quite nicely, but you know next week he could lose it. You got to remember that in the next couple of game weeks, we've got a game on Saturday, or we've got Champions League this week, the middle of the week, game week Saturday, then there's another game week midweek next week, and then I think it's FA Cup, so then they'll be playing then. Then it's Champions League, and then it's game weeks on the Saturday. So actually we've got 5 sets of fixtures for Man City, and that's why he's rogue, because I don't think he plays in all 5 of those games. I think he probably gets the priority in the Premier League, which is the reason why I would give him a good nod. But at the same time, we don't know how Pep works. I mean, he attacked a cameraman at the weekend, so who knows what's going through that man's mind. But those are my shouts, Stephen. What do you think?
Fair enough. I think I like them both. Two of those players, Rogers and Gibbs White, are in my free hit team, so some alignment there. Cherky isn't rogue, but fair enough. He's a decent player. He's not Thomas Souček levels of rogue, which is you've been on a roll actually with your rogues. Actually. They've been rogue, and now you've unfortunately gone back to type. But nevertheless, fair enough.
Okay, cool. Well, let's wrap it up for this week. As we said at the beginning of the pod, do not make early transfers. Nico Riley, I hadn't thought about until you mentioned him. He's now in a draft for me as well, but I'm going to wait for those Champions League fixtures to pass through. Spurs have got PSG in a week, so that should be another absolute drubbing for me to watch on a Wednesday night. But yeah, it will be interesting to say the least. Thank you for listening, watching. Please give us a like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you for Rita for helping us with all the editing. And we will see you next week.
Thank you.